Okay, hear me out. The dad in Brightburn is played by the same guy that played Jason's dad in the Power Rangers movie, and he's married to Elizabeth Banks, who played Rita Repulsa in the Power Rangers movie. So is this technically just a Power Rangers fanfic where Jason's dad and Rita have an evil superpowered Zordon baby? I'm gonna say it's canon. Hi, I'm Andre, and I'm a black nerd with a review for You Better Reviews. Finally, I get to talk about a rated R movie. Yes, no more of this talk about PG and PG-13 superhero films. Now I get to talk about a rated R film with a superpower being in it, but still a rated R film, okay? Sorry, I didn't get a chance to see John Wick 3 yet, so this is what you get, okay? Just go with me on this. Hey, it's either this or Ugly Dolls. Which one do you want? I know some of y'all want Ugly Dolls. Why did I even say that? Brightburn. I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the bad, I'm gonna give you the nerdy. Is spoilery. So the basic plot of Brightburn. What if Superman were evil? That's pretty much it. Literally, the guy that introduced the movie when we saw it was like, welcome to Brightburn, aka Elseworld Superman. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Tell me if you heard this one before. A superpowered child lands on Earth in a spacecraft found by two adults who want to have a child in Kansas. But then he starts realizing, hey, I got super strength. Hey, I got laser eyes. Hey, I can fly. They even call the kid Brandon Breyer. Brandon, Warner Brothers, hopefully will not see this movie because they may want to be like, can we call a lawyer? I have a couple of questions. They're not even trying to hide the fact that they're literally saying we taking all the elements of Superman, except this time when he finds that he has powers, instead of wanting to save the world, he wants to take the world. We take it. I love the idea of an evil Superman. That is really fun and interesting, and it's the origin story of it as well. So Jackson Dunn, who plays Brandon Breyer, aka Brightburn in this movie, he does a really good job. Brandon is a straight up a-hole. Like the moment that he finds out that he is more powerful than anyone else on Earth, he is straight up like, oh, then I'm better than all y'all. You do what I say. I get what I want. You say something bad about me? Dash your ass. And here's the crazy part. The victims, the people that he ends up hurting in this movie, most of the time it is not their fault. Usually what happens is like this. He does something wrong. He goes over the line. Someone calls him out on going over the line. And then he goes, dash your ass. And I'm like, no, Brightburn. That's not how this works. Let me give you a perfect example of Brandon being an a-hole. So he's in school, right? And there's that typical thing where the teacher asks a question. He gives like that very nerdy, super smart answer. So of course you got the bullies in the back making fun of him. And then you have this little girl in front who turns around and is like, don't listen to those bullies. You're smart, and smart people are going to rule the world in the future. So she tries to encourage him when everyone else is making fun of him. So once this kid gets some powers, who do you think gets hurt first? I feel sad to say the black kid should have got it. There is this black kid that is just constantly messing with Brandon. And I'm like, oh, you dead. You in trouble. Nah. Meanwhile, someone who tries to be nice to him, that's your ass. You can't be stalking somebody and then they go, stop stalking me. Oh, you hurt. I talk back to you. Don't talk back to me. Oh, now I'm going to kill you. He is the reason for all the issues. He is straight up evil. There is no gray area here. There is no Killmonger was right, Thanos was right situation with this. There's no Joker style like, oh, the world treated me wrong. No, he is evil. He's a jerk. He's a dick. And the best part about Brandon being so much like this is Elizabeth Banks, because she is playing, I'm sorry if you think that this is racist, but she is playing that white mom. You know what I'm talking about? Like no matter what the kid does, you have that mom that's just like, no, he's fine. Like that's other kids. That ain't my boy. My boy is precious and can do no wrong. There are times when Brandon does things that it's very, very obvious it's him. And she'll be like, no, that you can't, don't you say that about my boy. How dare you talk to my son like that? There are times when he does stuff in front of her. There's a point where the dad is like, hey, you need to stop talking back to me. And Brandon does like one of those pushes, like, get off me, dad. But you know, he's powerful. So it's like, get off me, dad. What? And she's still like, no, not my boy.
Whatever you've done, I know there is good in you.
The effects in this movie, when they use them, I'll get to that, are actually pretty effective. What's really effective, though, is the gore. If somebody has something that cuts them, if something that hurts them, if some way their body would get disfigured because of what happened to them, this movie does not put it off screen. They put it right front and center just for you to see. up close and personal. Like, it's gonna be like, yeah, sometimes you might be a little like, because it shows it up close, man, and some of it is just nasty. Ugh. There's one attack that made me laugh so much because it's off in the corner, but it totally is like a superhero version of the Droopy dog. You know how in the Droopy cartoons when he would grab somebody by the hand and just go like boom, 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 and throw them around? Brandon does that to a person, basically. It made me laugh because it's like happening off to the side while someone's trying to hide, and it's just like, I like that part. So the premise is really good. The cast is really good. All the elements are there. But once Brandon actually finds out that he has these powers and we really get into the evil side of him, the movie completely stops the whole superhero or supervillain origin story at this point and just basically becomes a horror film. And I'm talking about a standard trope-filled horror film. We get all the tropes, all the slowly walking, looking for someone while the music comes up in suspense, all the jump scares. Obviously, yes, you want to have the horror stuff. You want to have this character be evil and do evil things and people being scared. I'm totally down with that. But this is a character that can fly, that can move around fast, that has super strength, and yet he's doing the same type of stuff that you would see in like Annabelle or like Child's Play. Why is he creeping up on people and scaring them as opposed to just being like, oh, I don't like you, a snap? And I get it's for the movie effect and I'm okay with that build or whatever, but it happens time after time again. Now, when it gets into the actual things Brandon does with these people, oh yeah, that stuff's interesting. That stuff's a little creative, but it's just all the build leading up to it. And even early on in the movie, before we even get into the horror stuff, there's a couple of times where they do the whole thing of like, where are you hiding, Brandon? Let's play the hide and seek game. Build, you know, that kind of stuff. I don't know what the whole production of this movie was, if it's something that was already made by a smaller studio and then Sony distributed it. It also wants to try to hit the low budget horror film route where you like make a low budget horror film, but then you hope to get all that money back in the box office and then some. Supervillain origin story, but with the budget of a Blumhouse movie. Let's go! I feel like all the ideas were sound. I think that with a little bit more expansion, the people working on this movie could have done more unique original things. When you get to the end of the movie, there's something that happens towards the end of the movie where I'm like, yes, that's it. That's what I was talking about. That's different because at the end of it all, it's a premise that doesn't really fully get out there the way that I feel like it could have. But maybe they're saving that for the future. Who knows? And now for the nerdy. I thought I knew how this movie was going to end, and this movie was like, you don't know nothing. And there is a credits, I don't know if you call it an after credit scene, I guess a during credit scene. A cameo pops up playing like a YouTube conspiracy theory video type guy, because you know those don't exist, but he's basically showing footage of some of the things that Brandon Brightburn has done, and he's all like, this is real, we got footage of it, and it reminds me of this other thing that people have been talking about, this creature in this other area, and there's these other things that people have discussed, and they start showing all these sketch drawings and even little boxes with question marks, and you're just like, oh, I see what's going on here. This is the start of a universe. And when you see that Sony is distributing this, and you're like, yeah, this all makes sense. Because Sony's like, look, we ain't got no DC Warner Brothers people. We don't have no Disney Marvel. The one superhero we got to share. All we got is Venom. I tell you what, let's take someone else's superheroes, make a slight change. And boom, original Sony. Again, though, Warner Brothers may want to make a phone call. So on my Care Bear rating, I give Brightburn a fun shine. I think that it's definitely fun to watch. I think you can definitely enjoy it. And if you like horror films, I think there'll be a lot of fun in seeing a horror film with superhero elements into it. It was fun watching it with an audience. And I think it's something that I could definitely see potential in expanding and making something that could end up being maybe a really cool universe that I'm all about if it ends up working out properly. Let's see if it happens. So those are my thoughts on Brightburn. Let me know what you think. Are you going to see the movie? Or if you did see it, what did you think about it? And are you excited about the potential of a evil superhero movie universe? Thanks for watching this video. If you like the stuff I'm doing here, make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff. Ring bells, subscribe by the bell. I live like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000.